This also took place on your birthday. So are you sure that it was for the PWHL and not for you? You're 100% sure that parade was for them, not you?
Definitely.
All right, welcome to the latest episode of Game Day Glare. I'm Lance. I'm with E. This is the podcast for sports videographers. How you doing, E?
Good. I've been playing around with my setup here. If people are watching on YouTube, so yeah, exciting about that. I'm in 4K at the moment, so hopefully it doesn't make this stream die in the middle of it. But so far, so good.
I'm liking the new setup, the new mic stand, the 4K. I see you nice and crystal clear. But there's one thing, you look a little bit older to me because you just had a birthday. So happy birthday! It was in between episodes there. So for your birthday present, I thought today's episode would be all about you. And with that, we're going to talk about how you helped film the PWHL Championship Parade. And I thought we can go through the pros, the cons, what you learned, the obstacles, all that kind of stuff on this episode, because not everyone has the chance to film a championship parade. I've been in pro sports for 24 years and I have 0 championship parade experience. So you have one up on me. The score is 1-0.
Yeah, it was my first one. So
because you don't always get that opportunity. So we thought we'd just have some fun with it and kind of see what your day was like. I wrote down a couple of questions to ask for you and that, because unfortunately, like I said, I've never experienced it, but I will experience it soon because my team, the Montreal Canadiens, are doing better. It looks like next year, or in the next 2-3 years, we could be a championship team. Unfortunately, we're out of the playoffs right now as they're wrapping up. But you know what? I'm excited that maybe of the possibility of a championship experience. So I want to learn all the ins and outs from you, E, since now you have that experience.
Jeez. One day.
That's it. That's it. One day, but it's all it takes. Hey, everybody has a first day at something, right? So you already had your first day. I haven't had mine. But before we start, we wanted to go into scouting report, the section where we talk about new gear. You want to lead us off, E, since I've been doing all the talking so far?
Yeah, well, once again, I've got something that's not it's not super new. It's less than a year old, I think, but definitely several months. It's this small rig. I don't know if it's going to focus on it eventually. Yes. Small rig. Let me actually turn it on so you can see how cool it looks.
Oh, there you go. Is that a focus? There you go.
Oh, there we are. Yeah, so it's a V-mount battery. It's a 99 watt hour battery. So yeah, as far as the 99, like I said, I just released by the time this video comes out, my video on my channel will be out as well about this battery. And like I say in the video, it's like a 99 watt hour battery is a 99 watt hour battery. So it doesn't last longer than the previous models, like the VB99 from Small Rig or the other 99 batteries from other brands. But what it does is that it has extra features. Like you can see, the outside of it has this, rubber sort of thing around it, so it's drop protected, and it's also dust and water resistant, and it's got this big screen as well on it, so that it makes it a lot easier to see. I'm gonna stop trying to show it because I'm always out of focus. But it makes it a lot easier to see your battery and stuff, and then you can swap during. There's obviously a lot of way to connect it. There's 2 USB-C connectors. There's USB-A. There's 2 DC, and there's 2 D taps, one on each side. And then through the menu on the touch screen, you can go through each of them, see which one is working, and you can turn them on and off as well if you want to. And there's even, when you're working, you're packing late at night and it's dark and you're trying to, unplug something or whatever you can't quite see, then instead of taking your phone, you can take this, turn on the flashlight, and then turn it off. So yeah, there's a lot of, some of it, including the flashlight, is more gimmicky than anything. But yeah, it's a little bit more expensive than the previous model, but I really like it. I like the rugged sort of rubber stuff, and I like how easy it is to turn off. Because like basically, if I want to turn off my monitor, because me having my monitor plugged into my V-mount battery, if I turned it off on the actual monitor, it still keeps going. I can't actually, the on-off switch is kind of it doesn't mean anything. It's just always on. So on the V-mount battery, I can just cut off the USB-A kind of port that is the one that's feeding the monitor, and then my monitor will turn off. So it's good to have these options, and it's also like, yeah, you can connect pretty much anything. I can charge my laptop. I can charge my phone if I want, all that sort of stuff. So it's a good thing to have. And then when you have that, you don't need to worry about swapping batteries. I don't have to carry like these big NFP, I think, the big Sony like batteries for my monitor. I don't need them anymore. So my kit's actually a bit lighter. I don't have to worry about having 3 or 4 batteries for my camera. So yeah, that's my scouting reports. What's
I like
yours?
it. Well, wait, first I want to go to yours. I really like the flashlight option. It's just a little gimmick, but it does come in handy. And the fact that you can turn off what your ports are going to, that's a big bonus. So like the one that I have, I can't do that. And my monitor, I can turn off my monitor, but there's always like a little light on the monitor that stays on. So you know it is using a bit of power, even though it's minimal. But it would be nice to just turn that switch off where I know no extra power is going to that monitor. So those are really, really good options you have. And especially like, we had talked on previous episodes about uploading photos and that on your phone, live videos, clips like that. So sometimes if your phone's dying, well, you could just plug into your V-mount battery and it saves you too. So those are really, really good options. So I know V-mount batteries, you were saying, oh, it's an older thing, but no, for some people who don't have it, all the information you gave is really, really relevant. And thanks for sharing that.
Well, I think once you try V-mount, like it changes. Unless you're really bothered by the weight, like if you only have like a super small kit with like a budget mirrorless camera and a lens, and that's it. Having a V-mount battery at the back might feel a bit awkward because it's going to be back heavy. But if you have like a slightly bigger rig, like, and you can have the battery's actually going to make it more balanced, because you have like usually the weights at the front with the lens and potentially a monitor as well. So having that at the back balances all, make it easier to be stable and stuff. And then now, like I said, you don't have to worry about batteries, and you can go all day. And yeah, it's a big plus.
Yeah, for sure. So I want to talk about something. So Tamron has been releasing a new line of lenses to basically take over the original one. So we used to have the 17-28, the 28-75, all that. Now they have a 16-30, but this new one that just came out is the 35-100 f2.8. Now I want to kind of bring it up because this could be a sweet spot for some shooters. If you want a little bit more reach than the 28-75, this could be a good option. It's very, very lightweight and it's very budget friendly. But the trick is what can you use it for? And I feel like this lens is it's a one and done lens. Like you bring this on depending on what your shoot is, and it's the only lens you'll need for that day. Yes, 35 sometimes can feel a little bit tight. Obviously, a 16-100 would probably be a little bit better. But with that f.28 and the price point, I think it's a decent lens. Like if you're doing baseline shots, behind the scenes shots, run and gun shots, this could be your go-to lens, because most people use a 28-75, and I think this totally replaces that. So that's why I want to bring that up. It's not a true wide or a true telephoto, but it's a utility lens. Mm-hmm. So depending on what you need to film, this can solve a lot of your problems, especially if you don't already own a 28-75. You have to do interviews, 35, 50, 85. Those are perfect millimeters for your interviews. So this is a lens that I think is interesting because there isn't really anyone out there with this. And the other thing is Tamron has made this only for 2 companies right now. Sony, so FX3 users, and the new Nikon Z is meant for that lens too. So they're really targeting videographers with this lens. So that's why I thought I'd bring it up in the scouting report, because I do think it's a lens that can be the perfect sweet spot for people. Me personally, I don't really need it. I already got a wide. I have my 28-75 and I have a 35-150. So for me, I don't need it. But for someone who's starting out beginner, I think, yeah, this could be a good lens.
Well, I was gonna ask, like, how do you think it compares to the 35 to 150? Because it's basically the same thing, if I understand. It's just it goes to 100 and it's a constant aperture.
Exactly. So the 2 points are it's lighter and smaller. It's very compact. It's actually the same size as a 28 to 75.
Oh, okay.
So that's a big thing, and it's $1,500 cheaper Canadian than the 35 to 150. So they're targeting the budget friendly, newer videographers who don't have kits established. That's who they're targeting. So that's how I think a 35 to 150 for sports is definitely a better go-to lens that covers everything. But if you don't have the budget and you're starting out, or you're doing like behind the scenes run and gun stuff, and you're not having to need that extra focal length, I think it checks a lot of boxes, and I think it's definitely an interesting lens to put in your bag when you're starting out. Personally, 28 to 75, I loved that lens. I loved it. But if I didn't have that lens, I think this 35 to 100 would really be a good buy instead of that lens. So I think that's what it more replaces, the 28 to 75.
Okay.
But I mean, the 35 to 150 still gives you way more. It's just $1,500 more Canadian. So for $1,000, you're getting this lens. I think it's good. I think it's definitely worth contemplating adding to a bag if you don't have a lens in that category yet.
No.
Yeah, so that's it for my scouting report. Now, it's all about you, E. This is the show that you asked for. You said today, Lance, let's make it all about me and how I have championship experience. So why don't you you start us off by telling us, like, first of all, how was your day and what were your mandates for that day? Because me and you haven't even talked about this off camera, so I don't even know.
Yeah, well, basically, yeah, the Montreal Victoire, which is the PWHL team, women hockey, professional women hockey in North America, and yeah, they won. They won the cup, the Walter Cup, and so after that, they won on the road. So like after that, when they came back home, like they did a few. They went at a Habs games. They did a few things like that, but eventually, like any other major sports team, they were going to have like a parade. I think they were debating whether it was going to be a parade or just like a, what do you call it? Like when they end up like at a stage and it's just like a big,
like a rally.
Yeah, exactly, a rally. So they were debating between the two because they don't have the same crowds as the Montreal Canadiens, obviously. So it's like a parade might be a bit sketchy. Like it might be, they weren't too sure if it was a good idea, especially if it was going to be like on a Tuesday afternoon. So they ended up going with a rally, but that started with like a very short parade where basically the bus would start from where they practice, but just driving normally, like not doing a parade or anything. And then as it gets downtown, probably like 4 or 5 blocks away from the rally, then it was like a double-decker deck would be on the top and all that. And so from like 5 blocks away, it would actually become a parade and then go into that rally. So that was and then it was on a Saturday, and it's in a spot downtown where it's like a big park and is known to have like concerts and music festivals and things like that. So that was on a Saturday. So on the Friday, we had like a meeting where I was briefed of, how it was going to work and the bus and all that sort of stuff. And my job was to be at the park already. So the bus is moving from point A to point B in parade mode at 11 until 11:30. So my job was to be there at 10 and start filming the rally people, a few sponsor activations, things like that, and then get ready to film the bus coming towards me with there's a car. There was like a convertible, like an old like 60s style convertible at the front with the cup, and they weren't sure at that moment who was going to be in the car because you only have like 3 people, I think. But it was mostly going to be the captain, the coach, and someone else. But anyway, so that was, and then after that, it was like, the players, they get dropped somewhere, and then there's like a red carpet that goes through the crowd to the stage, and I was to get that shot of them like coming through the red carpet, and then on the stage there's everything you can imagine. Like presentation of all the coaching staff, all the players, and then speeches from the important key people, and then and things like that. And even before that, there was a few, the mayor that said something. There was a couple of musical acts and things of that nature, a DJ, things like that. So yeah, capturing all that, and then they're celebrating on stage and autographs and all that sort of stuff. So it was pretty basic in terms of like the brief. Like it's not like I have to constantly check my phone and reread, make sure I didn't miss like a specific thing. Like I pretty much knew reading it once, I knew what I had to do, but it's all happening very quickly. So it's all about trying to make sure that you get, and there was another videographer that was with them at all time, the real team videographer. I was kind of an added camera. So that person was with the team on the bus, on the stage. So I was more the kind of the crowd perspective, if you will.
Okay. So I have a couple of questions. First of all, this also took place on your birthday. So are you sure that it was for the PWHL and not for you? You're 100% sure that parade was for them, not you?
Definitely.
Okay. Perfect.
Definitely.
So what I want to talk about is, what was it like for you? Like, what was that experience? Like the energy, like, cause you're there ahead of time. So you see the crowd coming, you see the players coming and that. How is it like, what's it like emotionally seeing that kind of moment build up? Because part of your job is capturing that emotion. So what's your game plan for that?
Well, I was, and so were they. I was very surprised by the turnout. I think there was like 20,000 people there. There was the report on the news. And that stretch of parade, there was people all over St. Catherine, which is the main street downtown. And it was just like, people are as if it was the Montreal Canadiens. Like it was crazy. So the girls were loving it because they were scared that, are people going to care? Are they going to show up and all that sort of stuff? Yeah, because
the first time you don't know, right?
Yeah, exactly. And it definitely went over like any expectations that they had. So everybody was in it drinking, they're having fun. It's they're living their best lives. All their friends are there, all their families are there. So like they were loving it, and so was I. Like I showed up to the park, and like usually when you go to a hockey game or any sports for that matter, and you have like a brief of like shots to get, they're like, make sure you're outdoors you're at the doors when doors open to get that crowd coming in. But like, most times when doors open, it's not like a huge crowd. Like, that first 30 seconds might look good, but after that, it's not that cute. So I showed up at the rally at 10, knowing that it technically starts more at about 11:30. I thought like, whoa, it's not going to be that many people. I got there, it was full, it was packed, there was people everywhere. So so seeing that like made me excited about being there, and I was happy for the team, happy for the women, for the players, all that stuff. So it was cool to be there. It was a cool atmosphere as well. The DJ, the music, all that sort of stuff. I saw a couple of local celebrities, even what's his name, Laurent Duvernay-Tardif, which is a retired NFL player. He played for the Chiefs, and I'm pretty sure he's the one and only French Canadian Super Bowl champ. I'm pretty sure.
Slash doctor
as well. Yeah. And now I think him and his like family are like philanthropists, and they invest in a lot of stuff, and I think they invested in women's sports in Montreal a lot. But yeah, anyway, all that to say that it was great atmosphere, and but what I learned, the main thing I learned though, is like anything, because like when you're in sports, you're like you don't control anything, you always have to adapt. And with a thing like that, like you think that there's going to be a bit more control, because my brief, like I said, is pretty simple. When the players arrive, I shoot them. When they arrive there, I shoot them from that angle, and then I film the stage. But there's just as many things that are out of your control, and whether it's the wind that's kind of making things harder, or like I think in that case specifically, the security was the main issue for the cameras. Because, like, for example, getting that shot of the bus arriving, like, front on, like, the guys that were blocking the streets and stuff, like, they understood, like, you're going to stay there until the last second and move out. And, like, they're like, yeah, that's fine. But then the bus arrives with that car at the front, and then in front of the car, there's like a V formation of motorcycle cups. So they basically they're the ones like the main focus in my shot because I can't really see the car behind them. I can see the bus, but from that angle, like you can't really see the people on the bus that well. So it's really I'm filming the cups in front. So that shot's not that great. So as they're passing me by, I can get some good shots. But the other thing as well is that they're supposed to go super slow. But I don't know if they're late or something. But that bus went kind of fast, like not super fast, but way faster than it was supposed to. So you don't have time to get that many shots, and then you run to get a second one, and then that's it. And then with the red carpet, there's about 10 of us at the end of that red carpet trying to get that front on shot of the players coming toward us. And then again, same thing. Like when they finally start walking on that red carpet, all you get is that first person that's there because it's a pretty narrow carpet. And it's a security person that's walking, and it's like, and then as soon as they get about like 15 feet from us, they're like, move, everybody move, everybody. So basically that whole shot that's supposed to be like your hero shot, they're all ruined because like it's all about, and I get it, like the security, they have a job to do, and it's pretty, like I said, it was full packed, and there's not those little gate thingies that's blocking the crowd, like they could easily get just pushed over. So they're a bit, they want to make sure that nothing goes bad, and so yeah, so they're doing their job, but it means like for that red carpet thing, for example, like the first people that walked towards us were like the coaching staff. And then I realized that, if there's a security in front of those people, for sure there's going to be one in front of the players. So I decided to not bother about that front-on shot, and I just sort of moved and got like a higher kind of view on the side where you can see the crowd in the foreground and then the players walking in on the red carpet. But that means that I have to be in manual focus because otherwise autofocus is going to be all over the place and probably on someone in the crowd that's closer to me. And I also have to be quite higher up. So I'm holding like my monopod, like, at like this with my LCD screen and my monitor tilted down. So I'm filming, but I have no clue if I'm really properly exposed because there's the sun as well, like hitting the stuff. So I can't really tell if I'm in focus. So I'm going with a high aperture and I'm praying for the best and looking at the footage afterwards. I'm not quite it's a bit of a soft thing where maybe with some sharpness, if you're using like quick shots, it can work. But yeah. So it's one of these things where you adapt, and you same thing afterwards when they were on the stage. I was on the red carpet to kind of be able to go everywhere, but there was always like a security in my shot. So eventually I found a better spot where I'm still on the red carpet, but because it was kind of an L shape. So at first I was kind of in front of the stage, but then I went back so that I can have like a big crowd in front of me and the stage in the background and just do that shot that is because we have like the tight shots from the videographer that's on stage anyway. So I'm getting the bigger shot where you can get the entire stage and the signage at top with the champions and all that sort of stuff, and get the crowd reactions every time something cool happens. So yeah, I don't know if that was I can't remember what your question was, but that was my day.
I have a lot of questions now. All right, so let's start this. What was the hardest part of that day? Like challenge wise to film it? Like I know you just said crowd security and that, but like you're going in, you have your briefing, you're going there. So what was something that was like a challenge that you didn't even think of, or you're like, oh, this is harder than I thought?
Well, I think it was just, adapting. Because when you talk with the team, especially that we had a meeting the day before and we're talking about, like the meeting wasn't about video exclusively, so like it was just 5 minutes here or there where it was actually about my stuff. But when it was like it's like, okay, they're gonna arrive this way, so this shot, like I can cover this, you can cover that. So like when you're in a situation where we talked about me getting that shot and I'm thinking this is not gonna happen, like this is not gonna look good. I can try, but it's most likely gonna fail. So that you have to make an executive decision and you're working for a client, you're not working for yourself, but you have to make the decision of, do I stay here, try to get the shot that we talked about, or do I move and try to get an actual shot that I believe is going to be better and work? And and yeah, so that those are the times where you're kind of, because it's not my idea, it's not my team, it's not my concept. So like, should I? And you have to make that decision. So sometimes you do, sometimes you don't. Depends on what the purpose and what the obstacles are. But in that case, sometimes, like, I tried to do the things that the way we discussed, but when I saw that it wasn't gonna give them anything great, I was like, so what's the point of this? So I might as well move and try to do something that can actually be useful. So I think it's, yeah, adapting, being able to read the room and make a decision. That's the biggest challenge because it's a bit scary, but it's when it works and when you're actually proud of the shot you end up getting, then yeah, you're happy and everybody wins.
Well, I think like you said it, like you have to adjust on the fly and you have to see what's working and what's not. Like, how much did a crowd affect your shots? Like, 'cause especially there's like way more people there than expected. So how much harder did that make your job?
Yeah, it did because more crowd, first of all, meant more security, but also I had to film in manual focus most of the time because my shot was mainly having the players, focus on the players, but having the crowd in the foreground of my shot. So, like every time I try to film in auto, it was just a mess. So, especially if there's a speech, like you don't want the focus to go away from the person talking. If the crowd is celebrating after a speech, then having them in focus is not a big deal. But so yeah, so all that to say that I have to be in manual focus, and also we outdoors, so exposure is all over the place when there's clouds and stuff. So it was a bright sunny day, so for that it was cool. Like the sky looked great. But yeah, you're always playing with your exposure, you're always playing with your focus, and especially that often, like, my camera would be pretty high up to get that perspective, so I'm not close to my camera, so I'm not close enough to see and monitor everything, and I'm not close enough to adjust everything sort of super quickly. So yeah, all that combined was definitely a challenge, but you get through it.
Did you ever feel like the chaos was like too much at times? Like, oh, this is just too out of control, or?
Well, from a technical point of view, yes, but the actual event, no. Like, people were nice and everybody's in a good mood, and it's 1:30 in the afternoon, so nobody's, except for the players, nobody's too drunk or anything like that. So yeah, it's all good.
So except for like staying calm, mobility, what did that day teach you? Like, we always go to these shoots and there's always something you take away from these shoots, like either on technical aspect or on a personal aspect. So what did that day teach you?
Well, first of all, that manual focus is always a good thing to know, because some people never use it, so it's like driving manual. Like, if you never use it, like, why bother learning it? But that one time that you'll need it, you'll be happy that you know it. So same thing with focus, like being able to, like, using my peaking, like having these things handy, easy to turn on and off to help me with it. Definitely made it easier, but like having the confidence that I know how to do it as well is part of it. So yeah, I'd say definitely like, yeah, going for things that I haven't used in a while, and just with confidence and making the most of it.
Did you use like focus mapping at all or anything, since your tripod was so high you need to kind of look up, or you kind of dialed it in and then lifted your monopod up? Okay.
Yeah, pretty much. And also, like, I was at a pretty high aperture. Like, I would be at like f7 or something like that. So I wasn't like I was at 2.8 and that the pinpoint. But when you're filming that wide from that far, it doesn't really change anything. Like, it's not like the shallow depth of field is not that shallow in a you know what I mean? Like, even if you're at 2.8, it's not going to be just one person in focus though, when you get such a wide shot. But yeah, it was a high aperture to kind of minimize the risks as well.
So what would you do differently next time? Like, obviously there's security issues. You can't control how many people are there and that. But if say if there's another parade or something, let's say the Alouettes win and they're doing something similar, Going into it in your game plan, what was you suggest that you could do differently?
I don't know. It's a good question. Um, I don't know. I guess it depends on what they're trying to capture. Like we could set up like some cameras that could be just on a tripod or attached somewhere and just getting angles that are hard to reach and attached to the stage somewhere, and that would give you like great, because everything happens in such a small space. Like you could have, instead of, for example, for the videographer that's on stage and is trying to film what's happening, and you always end up being on the side, or if you go in the front, you quickly go in front of them, you get on your knees or whatever, you get that shot and then you move out. You could just have a camera that's on front and attached to the front of the stage and pointing, and someone can monitor remotely or something like that. So like it's things like that could be interesting. But other than that, like there was a stage, like, because I could have used, like, there was obviously like a little stage for cameras, like for the ones that were actually broadcasted on the big screen. I never went there because it was kind of a tricky. Like if I go there, then it's just the moving from one point from point A to point B was a bit complicated, so I avoided it. But maybe I could look at it, see if I could get a good shot from there. Yeah, there's things that I didn't explore that I might explore, but yeah, I think it was just it's more, yeah, like, because the weather is a big part of it as well. Like if it rains, then it changes a lot of things. So it's hard to plan perfectly for those things. But I think all things considered, we did all right.
All right. So now that you told us about your whole day and how you filmed it and how the challenges were, what gear did you use? Like was it hard to, like, what are you trying to accomplish gear wise? Are you trying to be light and flexible? Are you trying to have like two camera setups, one a wide, one a tighter one? Like what was your thought process going in on what your setup would be for that day?
Definitely not two cameras, because there's people everywhere. I can't really leave a camera unattended unless it would be, like I said, like on that, either attached to the front of the stage, like I mentioned earlier, or potentially you could put a camera unattended in that little stage for the cameras that are filming the broadcast, because that way, it's just in a little, that thing is obviously roped off, so I could put a camera there maybe. But yeah, I just went with one camera. It wasn't part of my brief anyway to have two. And I had like the same kit that I showed in like a couple of videos ago now, which is basically my FX3 with the Sony 28 to 135, which is a bit similar to the Tamron you were talking about earlier. Like it kind of covers everything. So I thought, with that, I should be golden, whether I'm filming from up close or from far. I still had I had my camera bag, and in there I had the 16 to 35 and my 70 to 200, which is basically the three lenses that I bring on every shoot now. There was, especially at the start, like when I'm going through the crowd and capturing like shots of people celebrating and things like that, like the 16 to 35 would have been cool, like to just be able to get up close and still get like a wide shot. But I ended up sticking to my one lens the entire time, just because it was awkward to try to switch, especially once the players were there. Like it was always happening, like it was hard to take a break. So I stick to it, but and I didn't need to go too tight on the stage anyway. It was more important to get some of the crowd in my shot. So I stick to my 28 to 135. I stuck to it the entire time. But I did have other lenses, obviously ND filters, variable ND filters, and I did bring my monopod, which was definitely a good idea. Like I said, I needed to film from pretty high up at times. So if I didn't have that, I don't think my shoulder would be here today to talk about it. Especially I already have shoulder issues to begin with. But yeah, so yeah, the monopod was definitely a good idea. And also, especially when you're filming outside, even if I didn't have to film from a very high point of view, I think when you're filming outdoors and it's windy and things like that, and you're trying to get like a nice stable shot, being able to just like having that stability really helps. Because otherwise, the wind doesn't, it's not like it's gonna push you over and make you fall or anything, but it's enough to move the camera a little bit, and it can be kind of quite difficult to get like a nice stable shot of like the bus or something like that. So yeah, the monopod, the camera kit with my monitor, obviously, I was shotgunning it for the audio, and yeah, that's about it, I think.
So the reason why I asked if you had a 2-camera setup is because that's what I was thinking about. Like I was like, oh, all those crowd shots and that, for sure he's using his 16 to 35 because that's a great lens. But you know what? It's true that 28 focal range, it's wide. It's wide, and you take a little step back. So that's why I was thinking, oh, maybe he had 2 kits. Like I was thinking you had your A7 V with the 16-35, like kind of like on a strap, and you could use it when you want to switch back and forth. But it's not
That's what I'd
ideal
like
when
to
you're
do
walking
eventually.
through people. No, but when you're walking through people and that,
Yeah.
people are banging into you, your camera gets dinged up too, and it's a new camera too. But yeah, having a 2-camera setup like that is ideal, especially for something like that.
Yeah, I think eventually, I'm thinking mainly of football. I'm not going to buy equipment like strictly for parades, but for football, I'm thinking like having my A7 V with a 16 to 35 on a strap that I can just use when I'm at the back of the end zone and there's like potentially a touchdown coming, and I can get like a good wide shot of the celebration. Because usually you're filming football, you're on the 70 to 200, and then when the players are close, that shot is it's hard to use. So being able to switch would be ideal. So, and even at any games, like you said, if I'm filming crowd, in the first hour or two, I can basically, instead of changing my setup, I can just have the smaller lens on another camera and just use that for a little bit. So yeah, I just need to buy a strap.
Yeah, well, Peak Design sells a really, really good strap like that where it just clips onto the side. So I actually had a shoot last week where I had to do that. I was shooting basically mostly on my 35-150, and then I had a couple group shots and all this stuff. And there was no place for me to really change my lens. So I had my A7 V ready to go, and I just pulled it out and boom, I got my wide angle shots super fast. So, but I was not in a crowded area. So it's completely different. So if there was one piece of equipment that you wish you had, or something else that you would have brought differently, is there anything that you would like, oh, I wish I should have brought this? Or maybe it's like having the strap system for your wide. Is there anything else that you would have liked?
Yeah, the strap, and I'd say I wish I would have been, maybe if I got there a little bit earlier, I would have used the 16 to 35. I think I was in a bit of a hurry to catch everything quickly so that I can be in position when the bus arrives, because that was a stress, like missing the bus arrival. So because of all that, like I didn't want to get into switching lenses and not having the right lenses when the bus gets here and all that sort of stuff. But yeah, it's not that I was missing anything in terms of equipment. It was just I wish I would have used my 16 to 35 in some of that content, especially, well, definitely before the arrival.
Well, anyway, thanks for walking us through your game, through your day. I guess the thing is, you approached it, even though it's a parade, you're approaching it the same way, right? You're approaching it as if you would any other event. You're going in with a plan. You have an idea. Yeah, things get kind of thrown at you and stuff like that, but you just stay calm and manage through it, right? I guess.
Exactly.
And so I'll let you close this episode out. Since you have so much more championship experience than me, what advice can you give me if I'm about to shoot my first championship parade, or to our listeners?
Well, maybe you should get different clients, because if in 24 years that happened, try to diversify your client list. But other than that, yeah, no, just like we said already, I think it's just about obviously preparing in terms of like knowing exactly what time the players are arriving, where you're supposed to be, all that sort of stuff. What's the traveling, the bus gets here, all right, but like where are the players going to then go to the stage, all that sort of stuff. Is there autograph sessions before or after, things like that. So just being fully aware of what's going to happen so you can be at the right place at the right time. But then also being ready for any, not changes, but like anything that can get in the way, and kind of like any obstacle it wasn't possible to predict or anything. So like always be on the lookout for anything, and then hope for the best. But at the same time, that's what sport is anyway. So if you're already doing a good job at it at sporting events, you'll do fine at a parade, and you'll be in a good mood, and you might drink a beer or two. So, you know, it's all wins.
Well, thank you for all the tips. I really like the last one of the drinking the beer, so that's the tip I'll walk away with. But
I
guys,
didn't. But
you didn't. You did after though. Did you drink out of the cup after? Anything cool happened to you after? Or?
No, I drank the night before because it was my birthday. So I went out the night before with my friends. So I did enough drinking. I wasn't really in the mood to drink on the next morning.
All right, guys. Well, thanks, E, for sharing. Well, that's it for this episode of Game Day Glare, and hopefully one day I could be a champion like E.